Alright, so in this video, what I'm going to do is animate this beam that we have here. So we've got the Sumikiri Isuka Tsugi, which is this kind of double split joint with this locking key as well. So we've got that in Rhino. What we're going to do is create an animation similar to this one that I've already done in D5. So really simple, clean animation that just shows how these components come together. So first thing that we need to do is go back to our Rhino. I'm just going to undo that so that the beam is together, and we're going to select all of our objects. And you can see in Rhino that I've already arranged each object onto a material layer. And so that's useful when we get it into D5, and you'll see why. But what I want to do is go and just click on this little icon here to export. And we've got a few options. So export all, export object selection, or export by layer selection. We want to click export object selection, and we're going to keep our 3 layers intact and click export. And then just save it wherever you want, give it a good name. I'm going to keep this as joint 07, same as my Rhino layer. Sumikiri Isuka Tsugi. And so we've exported from Rhino, and now if we go over to D5, they come out that animation. And what I want to do is just go up to import in the top left. And we can find our exported model, just click on that and open. And then you'll see down here in our imported list, we've got our different joints. So you should have that say or appearing somewhere around here. So click on your object and just drag it into the scene. So now we have our object in our scene, and we can just move it into place wherever we want it. Around there is good. And you'll notice that, actually I'm just going to drag it up a bit. You'll notice that it comes in without the materials, so we'll add our materials within D5. And a good way to do this is with the eyedropper tool. So if I just click I on the keyboard and click on this brown wood that I want, and now you can see that that material comes up. If I come up to here and click duplicate, I can just paste it onto the material that I want. And you'll notice that the pin in there has also got the same material because it's on the same layer within Rhino. And so if I do the same for the light color wood, and now you'll notice we have something a little bit funny going on with this second beam where the mapping is in the wrong direction. So what I want to do is I could either rotate it directly in here in D5, so come down here and rotate 90, but then what that will do is, oh, it hasn't. Okay, that's good. Sometimes it would rotate all of these materials, so this one on the beam below would end up flipping as well. So then we go back into Rhino and remap in there, but this is okay for now. And so if we go into our object tab, you can see that that object has imported with our layers. So we've got wood and we've got dark wood. And if I click on this object here, untitled, and move it up, you can see that that's our little lock pin. Just undo that, and I'm just gonna rename these for clarity. I'm gonna do light beam, and I'm gonna do thin. I'm gonna name that dark beam. Okay. And then I'm just going to move everything down and around the same location as my other beam. And so now we have, if I can turn that one off. Now we have a new interlock and joint in position, ready to be animated. So I'm going to go up to this little video icon here, and you'll see I've already got a few things going on here from the animation I made before. So I'm just going to create a clip, create a new one. And I'm going to go over to my starting scene. I'm going to hide this beam because I don't want that. I'm just going to update the scene. So I want this to be my starting location. So I'm just going to click create shot here. So we've got shot one. And if I run it, you'll see that nothing happens. So what I want to do is pan or orbit a little bit, zoom in to wherever you want your second shot to be. And I think something maybe on a viewpoint like this might be good to show this interlocking piece of the dark wood. And if I just go down to here, and if I just switch views on this little icon here, we go to our timeline. And what I'm going to do, just demonstrate that again, is go to our end frame, maybe something like this. And just click this little camera button, and that will add our end frame. And you'll notice that was quite fast because we've got 3 seconds. So the duration of path is dictated by this number here. So we can put that to around 10 seconds. And now we'll have a much slower animation. And what I'm going to do as well is just remove that ease in and ease out so that we have a continuous pace of shot. Alright, so if I go to switch view again, I can start to add my animation. And Debug is great because it has all of these different templates. And the ones that we want to use for animating these beams is these ones. So I'm going to use ascend to start. And I'm going to do light beam to start. So you notice here we're selecting the objects that we want to animate first, and we're going to do these one by one. So click done. You can see that beam flew into the scene there. So what I want to do now to edit that and get it moving how we want to is select our little purple fly-in animation. Maybe extend it a bit as that was quick. And I'm going to change the distance to 1 meter. I'm going to change the direction to 180, so that it comes in from the right hand side in. Now if we roll that again, and spacebar, you'll see that slots together quite nicely. Comes in from the right hand side. There you go. Now I can duplicate that. If I click on this, I can edit the objects. I'm going to remove the light beam and just click on the dark beam. And have the same thing happening for the dark beam, except this time we want to go back to 0 because you want it to come from the left. And so you'll notice that there's this light beam coming in and then the dark beam coming in second. And what I think would be cool is to have them coming in at the same time. So what I'm going to do is drag this second beam to around halfway between the first beam and see how that looks. And I was thinking pretty good. But I think what's happening now is I don't quite like this camera movement. It's kind of going up and down. It's a bit distracting. So what I'm going to do is go back to our camera view. I'm just going to remove that one. And whilst we're animating, I'm just going to keep that camera still. So we'll work on our animation to start. Alright, so our two main beams are going in. Now what I want to do is drop our little pin into position. So, done. If I just demonstrate that again, delete that. I'm going to go back to our template tab, click on drop, and then just select our little pin in there. You'll notice there, pin is now on object, so just click done. Now what will happen is boom, our pin drops out up from the sky and locks these beams together. I'm going to drag that underneath a little bit. It's moving a bit quick for me, so I'm just going to do, again, 1 meter. Maybe drag that out. I think that's pretty neat. Might even just drag this back a little bit so that the beams come in like that, yeah. And even that can come a bit quicker or a bit sooner. Okay, I'm happy with our sequence of animations. Now what I'm going to do is just make this camera movement a little bit more dynamic, a bit more interesting, so we're not so static. Again, I'm going to actually use the fly. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, move left and pan. Something like this could work. And then just add scene there. Off we kick run. And we can just change a few of the, or just play around with a few of these movement presets. Auto smooth, ease in. I'm going to try that. It's not quite working how I want as well because it's not in frame properly. So I'm just going to do auto smooth, rotation, auto smooth. And that is much closer to what I want. Perfect. Okay, that is our animation done. Now I'm just going to export that. Hit render. And we're done. I'm going to add some sound effects in DaVinci, and then I'll post the final animation. In the next couple videos, I'm going to go through a few more of those joints that we've already modeled, and then also start to animate some furniture pieces like you see here. So I'm working on these screens at the moment, and we're going to run a similar idea. Let me open it in model actually. Similar. Oh, it's not going to work. Anyway, you can see in Rhino there. I'm going to run some animations of these screens where all these components and beams start to interlock together to really tell the story of these design pieces. So see you in the next video.